I like Oliveira in this fight. Okay, I think this is a good fight to make some additional money on your bet. He's going to keep this fight standing, Oliveira. I think Gunner's going to want to keep this fight standing. He's going to want to come forward. He's going to end up hitting. He's going to get hit a lot, right? These guys, both of their defense absolutely stinks. They're both going to get punched a lot, but Oliveira's offense is absolutely fantastic, right? And especially the way Gunner took that big loss from a big-time puncher in 2017. Look, you're getting plus money on Oliveira. I could see this fight ending early, so I'm going to take Oliveira, and then I'm going to see what pops up here, and then I'm going to take Oliveira inside the distance as well. So that's going to be my bet and prop bet as well.
Oh, I like it, man. That's great. And it's good to know that he doesn't go past 3 rounds for everybody out there. So absolutely love it, my man.
It's fun. He's a fun fighter. He's just all over the place. And, boy, you're going to absolutely – when you guys watch him this weekend, you're going to say, my gosh, he's got to be my favorite fighter.
All right. Well, where are we going to go next?
All right, so we're going to go to the co-main event here. We're looking at Valentina Shevchenko and Joanna Jedrzejczyk, right? So this fight opened at plus 225 for Joanna and Valentina at minus 335. Right now, this fight is sitting at plus 275 Joanna and minus 365 with Valentina. So you could see where the money's going on to. All right. Mm-hmm. Look, this is a brand new weight class for UFC. It's going to be the 125 flyweight division for women. They had a 115. They had a 135. Okay. So now this is the 125. So now these ladies can go up and down a little bit and really hit the weight that feels them better. So this is a brand new division and it's going to be fun here. So look, everybody knows Joanna, right? She was a champion at 115. She used her speed and her stand-up to take out opponents by winning decisions. And she was just a pounding, punching machine and just taking people out and going for decisions every single fight and winning. She was a champ. Mm-hmm. The champ for a while, right? Look, she went up against Rose. She was the bully of the division, right? Nobody could beat her. She went up against Rose Namajunas. And you know what happened? Her first fight, she not only lost, but she tapped on strikes. She tapped at 115. Dang. Okay, in the first round. Okay, so her bully tactics ended with Rose. So then she goes back and fights Rose again, and to try to get her belt back, and she loses in a 5-round decision. Right? I think she's a fantastic striker. Does she have any power behind it? No. Is it because it's a 115-pound class? Maybe, but it's 115 pounds, right? She doesn't have the power to knock people out, and she's going to strike them and get the unanimous decision. That's her MO. Every single fight she does it. She beats the other girl up and ends up winning the fight. All right? So now she lost to Rose. She lost to Rose again. She goes, you know what? My weight cuts have been really difficult to 115. I got to move up to 125. I think it's going to help me out a little bit. Look, I think it's going to help out her power a little bit, but I think it's going to slow her down as well, okay? So we're putting on some pounds onto her. She's not going to be as quick. Maybe not, the stamina might not be there. She'll have a little bit more power, but again, she's never knocked anybody out. Everything's been to decision, okay? Now, Valentina, this is the best women's fighter that no one talks about. Mm-hmm. I think her stand-up game's on point. She's powerful, okay? She was at 135. Kiev, who's your favorite fighter, female fighter in the UFC?
Oh, I remember Shevchenko versus my girl Nunes.
Okay. Amanda Nunes, she fought her twice, right? The first time, the decision went to Nunes, but the second fight, I went back and watched it again. She beat Nunes 100% in a 5-round decision. She beat her. She pounded her. But you know what? She lost it in a split decision. This girl is powerful. Her punches are on point. She's beat up the best fighter in women's MMA right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, she did a fantastic. She should have won that fight. All right, so she lost the fight. All right, no big deal. They opened up to 125. What does she do? She drops down to 125. Her first fight at 125, she absolutely destroyed her opponent. I mean, destroyed her. I mean, it wasn't even close. She is so good. I see why it's minus 335 and it's plus 275 for Joanna. I see why, because she's going to Valentina's going to take this division and control it for as long as she wants to. All right.
Okay, that's a lot of chalk to be laying if someone got caught at minus 360. Is it worth it, or is there another prop?
Yeah. So here's the deal. It's not worth to drop that type of chalk. Okay. So the play here for this fight is to take Valentina to win inside the distance. What makes it hard for me to tell you, is it going to be a knockout or is it going to be a submission? Because I could see her pounding Joanna into a KO, but I could also see her getting her to the ground and pounding her out on the ground, which is technically a KO. And then I could see Joanna taking a beating and getting a submission because of it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it hard for me. I'll tell you that you want to take Valentina inside the distance. This is a 5-round fight. I could see the 3rd round. Joanna, she's going to be beat down. I could see the 3rd round being the ending of the fight here. Look at it, make a choice, flip a coin. It's going to be one or the other. It's going to be either a knockout or a submission. I don't know which way I'm going to go, but I'm going to tell you that's the way it's going to go, and that's how the fight's going to happen here.
I'm seeing a round prop under 4.5 at plus 185.
Take it.
That's some pretty high juice, man. Or sorry, low juice. That they're giving you a 1.8 to 1 on that. I like it. And minus 265 on over. So I guess they're favored to go the distance there. But like what I've seen from Shevchenko, I can't. This Joanna has to be pretty damn good jawed if she's going to do that. So I can see some value there, my man.
Oof.
What else we got?
All right, I'm going to go to the main event here, okay? We got Max Holloway against Brian Ortega. I just want to tell you a quick backstory here real quick, and it's kind of important, all right? Now, Holloway was supposed to fight Frankie Edgar for the title last March, and he ended up with a leg injury, so he had to pull out, right? So Frankie could have sat and waited to get Holloway to get his title fight, but he says, Joanna, I'm going to go up against Ortega. Ortega took the fight. He took the fight against Ortega with everything to lose, and Ortega took the fight with everything to gain. And what happened? The first round, Frankie Edgar got uppercutted and went through the roof. Mm-hmm. Okay? Frankie Edgar lost his title shot. All right? Now, the title fight is set up between Max Ortega here in the summertime, early summer, right? Some of you guys that are listening now might remember leading up to the fight, there was something wrong with Max Holloway. He could have had some type of brain injury, concussion injury. He just was not himself.
Right. We covered that actually a little bit.
Yeah.
He was dazed and everything. Brian also covered it, our guest earlier, and he was like, it looked like he was concussed and he had to leave the fight.
Yeah. So they canceled the fight, right? So Ortega had a chance to step up, save the card, and fight somebody like Frankie did with him. And he said, no, I don't want to do it. So then I sit back as an observer and I say, why didn't he want to fight somebody else, right? So I start questioning, why did he refuse, right? He didn't want a title shot. He wanted the title shot only. Is he scared something's going to happen, maybe an injury? Or worst case scenario, is he not as good as his last performance and he's going to end up losing? And now he's going to lose his title shot. They gave him multiple offers. So when I'm listening to interviews and they're asking Ortega, why didn't you take any fights? He goes, I don't know, it just wasn't. I sit back and I wonder, wait, what the heck is going on, right? Are you not that good? So, but look, I like Ortega. I think he's a great fighter. So here we go. Let me break down these fighters for you, okay? Max Holloway, look, he's so much fun to watch. He loves to stand and bang against everybody, and I think anybody that watches fighting wants to see guys throw. It's very rare case, like I enjoy it, but very rare case where people get to the ground and they get to see the little the jiu-jitsu going on and with the ground game going on. People don't like that, but Max Holloway wants to stand, he wants to throw, okay? He moves in, he moves out, right? He sticks, he dives, he moves all over. Very smart fighter on his feet. He's so much fun because he's all over the place, right? His hands are out, but man, he's in and out. he could be a little unorthodox with this, holding his hands out to the side, letting opponents not know where his shot's coming from, and boom, it comes in, right? He moves his arms a lot. It's really weird to watch him fight, but boy, is it so effective, right? Look, he's fought the best of the best, right? He just turned 27 years old. He's been in the UFC a long time. I think he came to the UFC when he was 20 years old, right? His first fight, let me tell you some of these names that he's fought. His first fight into the UFC was Dustin Poirier, right? Who's going to become a champ, or got a shot to become a champion here at 155. He fought Dennis Bermudez, Conor McGregor, a young Cub Swanson, Charles Oliveira, Jeremy Stevens, Ricardo Lamas, Anthony Pettis, Jose Aldo twice. These are all guys that have been at the top of the top in either champions or fought for the title. He's been here a long time, and he's only 27 years old. Okay? Look, Max doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu. He doesn't. It's average, but he's always held his own because he's a fighter, right? And he keeps the fight standing up, and he moves, and he knows how to fight. Going up against what's considered to be the best jiu-jitsu fighter in the world in Ortega, right? He has to stay on the outside, and to keep what he's doing, has to stay always on the outside with Ortega. All right, so this is going to be Max Holloway's game plan against Ortega. Now, Ortega, I love him as a fighter, right? He's a 145-pounder, but man, he looks big. He looks much bigger than 145. He looks like he's a 170-pound fighter. He's that big. When you see him, he does not look that small. His jiu-jitsu is off the charts. And like I mentioned before, what he did with Frankie Edgar with his uppercut, came off his feet, that was absolutely amazing. I didn't see that coming, right? And I liked Frankie in the last fight, but I'm going to tell you, I did not see that type of knockout coming from Ortega. So his stand-up is improved. His defense is shoddy at best. He takes a lot of significant punches. I think the stat is 21 significant punches per 5 minutes. That is a heck of a lot, right? And his defense is not left and right. It's more back or more forward, right? And the way that Holloway goes left and right and in and out and left and right, it's going to make a big difference here, right? So in his last fight before Edgar, where he absolutely punched Edgar through the ceiling, like I mentioned before, like it was a cartoon, he went up against Cub Swanson. Mm-hmm. I watched the fight all over again. Cub Swanson dominated Ortega with his stand-up, but he ended up getting caught up close, right? At the end of the round, caught in the guillotine choke at the very end of the round, and you would have thought coming out in the second round that Cub Swanson, this older Cub Swanson, would have learned from his mistake. Well, he did the same thing again and got caught in a standing guillotine, right? So he ended up submitting Cub Swanson. He knocks out Edgar. He gets his title fight. So when I look at this, the only way for Ortega to win this fight is to get close to Holloway, get him on the ground, wear him down, and ultimately win this fight on a ground and pound, right? Or a mistake by Holloway, and maybe getting submitted. But when I look at this, I keep saying, I don't know. I know Max was hurt. I know his brain's a little rattled. He hasn't fought in a few months. But Ortega could have taken some fights, and he was scared to do it, right? Look, last week, Ortega was at +1. He was at +110, right? Mm-hmm. And -130. Today, the line is -105 for Ortega and -125 for Max. The money's coming in for Ortega. Who do I like? I think you guys probably already know who I like from what I've been saying, but I'm going to go with experience. I'm going to go with the devastating stand-up game, and I'm going to go with the champ Max Holloway. This fight will end 4th round or 5th round, but I like Max Holloway 100% to win this fight. That's my bet.
Nice. Wow. You are definitely going against some money here and some line movement there now. All the cards are stacked against Max. That's be the time he decides to shine here. So who knows? I look at Ortega, and we saw a couple of his fights. He looked pretty good, 14-0. So you wonder how hungry this man is and how hungry Max Holloway is to defend his belt there, my man. But
hey, let me ask you, Kiev, as a Bears fan, would you rather play the New York Jets, Cleveland Browns, and